Hello and welcome back to another episode of Doctor in a Bikini. This is episode 2 of Anonymous House Calls with Doctor in a Bikini. I've got another friend with me today. I'm really excited that you reached out to share your journey. I think that you have so much to share. I don't even know if we'll be able to pack it into one episode. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I guess to give people a little background because they don't know who they're listening to, can you start by just saying your experience in the sport, how many years, what division you are, just like a general background there?
Sure. Let's see. I've been in this sport for, I'd say not even a year. I'm going on a year. I'm in the bikini class. I'm a master's competitor. I'm 40. What am I now? 42. So I've done masters 40 and masters 35. And yeah, currently my next show is my first national show. So I'm super excited about that.
Oh, yay. I didn't even know. I mean, we briefly talked before about your plans, but that's so exciting that you have that coming up.
Yes. So, yep. So just kind of plugging along. I feel like I've been in prep for a whole year solid, just off and on, but I'm excited, really excited.
Yeah, I guess we'll start there before we get into some more of the bulk of what we're going to talk about. What are some thoughts and feelings you're having going into your first national show within just a year of competing?
Um, I mean, kind of full circle, right? Like going into bodybuilding, going into this whole competition thing. It started off as a bucket list. I think or just sort of, to just say I can do this. I made it up there. I had the confidence to do it, and it turned into so much more for me. So now it's just kind of excitement to, I guess, see how far I've actually come in a year and the transformation that I have made. I mean, not just physically, but mentally, just how proud I am of myself. So I know, of course I'm nervous, a little nervous. I'm a little excited. It's in Pittsburgh, so it's the first time I've actually had to travel for a show. And I told myself, oh, I'll never travel for a show. I'll just do local ones. But I'm seriously excited. And no matter how I stack up, I feel like, it'll be fun to see where I stack up, but uh, it's just so cool to say that, like, I'm doing it. Like, and it's for me. And I have such a great support system in my family, my husband, my kids. It's a lot of fun. My coach is awesome. It's super fun. So it makes it exciting to go.
Yeah, I love that. What got you into competing specifically?
Specifically, so I was kind of at the point in my life where kids are a little bit older, and you just kind of, when you have kids and you've just been working so hard as a young adult, and then you're married and all the things happen, you have the kids, you raise the kids, then all of a sudden it's like, wow, here I am again. And it's time for me to focus on myself a little bit and do something for me. And I worked with an online coach, and she had us, funny enough, like go back to like the secret days and with Oprah, make a vision board of sort of, just a vision board of maybe a physiques that you like, or body parts that you wish you had, or just admire women that you admire. And I legit like just picked out pictures on Pinterest of bodybuilders, bikini athletes, Jamie Eastman, like all the Oxygen girls that I love that magazine. I used to always dream that, I could have a physique like that because I love working out. I love doing all the things. And so my husband saw it. I was kind of embarrassed. And I'm like, yeah, I had to do a vision board. And he looked at it and he's like, shoot, you could do that. Go for it. Do it. I'm like, really? And I thought about it for, I don't know, a few weeks or so. And then I have the personality. It's like when I make up my mind to do something, it is so sporadic, and it just clicks, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it. And I called around. Actually, I looked around and I found Pro Physiques, and I found Ashley, and just kind of signed up as a lifestyle client, and then decided to compete. And it just sort of fell into place.
I love that. And just from me knowing you and some of the background you gave me, everyone listening, they might not know that it tested your confidence a bit coming into the sport. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. It did. It did.
What would you say was a big barrier that you've had to overcome with starting with competing?
Um, well, kind of the most surface barrier would be having a family, having kids, owning a business, you know, wife, all the things. But I guess really if you go deep to the barrier that I had to overcome and what sort of internally drove me to do this is to prove to myself that I could because I've experienced something that I feel like is becoming a little bit more common. People are hearing about it a little bit more, and at least I have, and it's probably because I'm partial to it. But in my late teens, early 20s, I went through Bell's palsy, and it came on incredibly fast. And it is, if you don't know what it is, Bell's palsy is it's caused from a virus that's dormant in your body, and it's brought on by stress, trauma, like a physical trauma, emotional trauma, which is stress. And it attacks a cranial nerve that controls, it basically paralyzes one side of your body, one side of your face. So I dealt with at an early age when I was just beginning my independent life, um, paralysis on one side of my face. And I did physical therapy to get that better. And then lo and behold, bam, it was actually the night that I got engaged. My husband took me to the emergency room for my left side. So I went from my right side to my left side. And it was really damaging to my confidence because I went from a girl who I've always been incredibly involved in sports and very competitive my whole entire life. That was pretty much all I did. And I was always in the spotlight. Was very good at sports. And so I was used to people looking at me. I was used to being the center of attention. And I had always been told that I had a smile that just lit up the room and I just loved making people feel good. And I loved changing someone's day. Like I just really care about people. And from going to that to basically people would look at me and think something was wrong with me because I couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't smile. I looked like I just been to the dentist and I couldn't move any of my one side of my face. And so that was really hard. And fast forward 20 years later, I still have paralysis on my left side of my face. It just never recovered. Like I when I get tired, you notice it a lot more, but my smile's a little crooked. I can't taste as well. I can't drink through a straw on that side. So like little things that I am self-conscious about, like even in my wedding, I didn't want to be photographed. So for me to get on stage in front of an audience and not just be judged on my physique, but the whole package. I mean, I was terrified of having someone look at my face and like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with her? Feel sorry for me. I didn't want anyone to feel sorry for me. But so that was, long story short, that was something that I had to overcome. And let me tell you, I think I told you a little bit about it in the notes, but it's like I turned 40 and I was like, F that. I'm 40 now. I don't care. Like I'm here for my life and I'm not going to let anything hold me back. And, if I don't see it as much, other people won't. And it's funny because when I started off, when my coach was like, all right, well, what side do you want to pose on? Of course, I was going to pose on the side that didn't have the paralysis anymore. And this season, both her and the posing coach, they were like, no, your left side's way better. So I'm like, oh, my stomach just sank. I'm like, I can do this. This is a huge test. Okay, I did one season on my good side and, quote unquote, my good side. This season, I'm doing it all on the side that's I still have the paralysis on, and you know what? It's just done me just a world of good. Like I can't even tell you. Like just it's just been so cool. My internal change that I've gone through all of this.
Wow, what a beautiful symbol. The fact that you entered the sport kind of leaning on the side that was less impaired to now you're blossoming into this new chapter, not just being in your 40s, but in the sport, and you are leading with the side that was most recently impaired. And I
Mhm.
love that you're embracing it because, earlier you said almost in past tense that you felt like your smile has always lit up a room. And I still feel like your smile lights up a room. When you're on
Mm.
stage, you're so confident and it's so obvious you're happy to be there and you're proud of yourself. And I think that that is such an emotional, important message to give people because from the outside perspective, all I get from you is just pride, gratitude. I'm happy, healthy. I'm so happy that I get to be here and to show my strengths. So, outside looking in, I mean, obviously, as someone who knows you, but even if I didn't, that's all that I feel from you on stage, which is so inspiring. So, thank you for sharing all of that.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. And I mean, it's one of those things too. It's I'm sure everyone, and that's kind of why I wanted to come on. I feel like everybody has something that they're insecure about, big or small. A birthmark, I don't know, a crooked nose, or just something like a scar on their leg, a C-section scar. I mean, everybody has something. And I just feel like it is so much more. This has just shown me. I mean, I've always known it, but until you walk through the shoes of actually feeling it, like it's just so much more than that in life, not just on stage. But
Yeah.
so,
No, I agree. And I love that you said that. And I love that we're talking about this because this is something I try and preach to people. With this sport, it being so much more than just a bodybuilding competition. I feel like sometimes bodybuilding gets a bad rep or an unfair rep about, it'll make me feel insecure about something or it'll give me a bad relationship with my body and I feel the opposite. I think
mhm,
the sport gives us an opportunity to put some of these inner thoughts and feelings about ourselves underneath the microscope and we are then forced to deal with it and overcome it. And I think that if we're in the right headspace, if we have the right community, what an opportunity that is to try and use this hobby as a tool to make us a better person.
mhm,
And I
totally agree.
exactly what you're sharing. So I love hearing other people's stories with this because I think it's an important message for people to hear. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you always think that because I know you said that you were in competitive sports growing up,
Mhm.
would you have thought that future you would have participated in a bodybuilding show?
Absolutely not. I
Really?
was
I
I
thought
was
you were absolutely.
such a tomboy. Like, well, first of all, I was a complete tomboy. I started off playing sports, and so I was in dance, and my mom asked me at like, I don't even know how old I was, 6 or 7. She's like, okay, you can either do dance or you can do softball. Like, what do you want to do? I'm like, oh, I don't want to do softball. I want to do boys baseball. So I went on to play boys baseball. We lived in Texas, and I made the all-star team. I was the only girl. I think my parents were wondering about me at that point. And um, I then switched to softball, and I was such a tomboy. Never did my hair, never wore makeup, never like I wore my dad's clothes in school. I wore basketball jerseys to school. I was completely opposite. And then I played basketball, softball, ran cross country. And then in college, I don't know what I wanted to be, but I kind of stumbled across, it was artistic too. I stumbled across the opportunity to work in a hair salon. And I thought that would be pretty cool. So I became a hairstylist. And my parents, they're like, what? The girl who never wore makeup, never did her hair, she wants to be a hairstylist. And
Oh my God.
It was a great career for me. I mean, it was so fun. I did really well. Um, but yeah, so there was that. I was a tomboy, and then I would never in a million years think that I would put a sparkly bikini on and walk on stage in front of people. Like to me, that did not seem like fun, didn't seem like anything in my DNA. But not to say that, I didn't respect the people that did that. I feel like it was different. I mean, I don't feel like we heard about it very much when I was younger or even in my 20s. There wasn't, I mean, I'm a lot older than some. We didn't have, Instagram, or I don't even know if we had Facebook. If we did, I didn't have Facebook, but I just didn't know about it. So yeah, I mean, you just never know where your life is gonna take you. Absolutely no idea.
It's so funny. Most people I talk to, when I ask them that question, they say absolutely not.
Yes.
You were like, I've always, that was my calling. A lot of us, I feel like we have some sort of reluctancy about it because it is really intimidating. And not to circle back, this is my ADD brain, but you just reminded me when you mentioned your previous role as a hairstylist. Um, you had included something in the notes that I sent you about, because I think this might be valuable for people. You had mentioned something about when you were a hairstylist and how that was a bit of a struggle for you before you stepped into this era of confidence. Can we
Mhm.
talk a bit about that journey and then also maybe some of the earlier stages of when you were first dealing with palsy?
Yeah. I guess we could start in the earlier stages. When I first, I mean, I went from, just a bubbly, happy, energetic 19, 20-year old, um, to I woke up one morning and I couldn't feel my arm and I couldn't taste. My mouth felt fuzzy. I had a migraine. I couldn't close my eye all the way and I didn't know what was going on. We went throughout the day and it just got worse and worse and worse. I felt like I was having a stroke. I mean, I couldn't talk. I couldn't necessarily do anything. It was really terrifying. Couldn't even stand up. And so my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he took me to the emergency room and they were trying to figure out if I had a stroke, Lyme disease, Bell's palsy. They weren't sure and had all the tests, and it was Bell's palsy. There's really not a whole lot you could do. I mean, you could do like a round of steroids, and at the time, that's all I think I did, some steroids, and then I had this like electrode machine I'd hook up to my face to try to stimulate my nerves and my muscles to regain strength. And so I was doing that, but I mean, right away, I mean, I had to sleep with tape over my eye so I could close my eye at night. I had to eat on one side of, I mean, it felt like I had been to the dentist and it looked like I had been to the dentist. And it was like that for, I'd say, a solid month. So I couldn't talk. I should have gone to speech therapy probably, but I could not, no one could really understand me. So the time I was a receptionist at the salon and it was really hard. So everybody that came in contact with me, I still had to work because I was paying my rent. I was supporting myself completely. Um, I had to deal with that and people couldn't understand me on the phone. And so it went from that to that, my right side got better. And for whatever reason, my left side got attacked a few months later. So at least I knew what I was getting into, but the same thing happened. And by that time, I was doing hair. I had graduated from hair school and I was doing hair. And it was hard. You get a lot of new clients building, and I'm looking in a mirror all day at my clients, and I'm standing behind them, and we're talking, and I'm making them feel beautiful, and I'm making them, you know, just have a great day, feel wonderful, and the whole time I'm looking at them, which I should be, but I just couldn't stand to look at myself. I couldn't look in the mirror and acknowledge the fact that this is my new face. This is like, and I'd still get the comments, oh, did you just get back from the dentist, hon? Like, oh, and I'm like, no, this is just how I am. This is just my face. I mean, it's gotten better, over so many years for sure. And I've done things and I found supplements that have helped. But yeah, it was really hard. It was really hard and I would have some really emotional days and it hurt. I still have occipital neuralgia, which it's kind of like phantom pains. If I get really tired or run down, I get just like sharp shooting pains in my ears and my face and so I still deal with it at some point, but not as much I guess emotionally as I used to deal with it. But I think because I was so young and insecure too, and I feel like we as a younger person we value different things more like your outward appearance more than you do sometimes and I mean
Yeah.
than anything but I've always had a husband or boyfriend fiance whatever he was at the time like he's been with me through everything he's never thought anything other than I'm the most beautiful wonderful person in the whole wide world regardless I mean he was 20 something and he was getting engaged to this girl who couldn't move one side of her face and to me I felt like a monster to him he just loved the heck out of me and wanted to take care of me and whatever he could do he did so I mean I'm really blessed to have him and that's just the type of person he is but I mean, I feel like I couldn't have done it without him, and I wouldn't be competing without him either. He's really always pushed me to be the best version of myself, and so I'm pretty lucky.
How did you two meet originally, by the way? I've never asked you that before.
We actually met in high school,
Oh,
and he was my first he was my first real boyfriend, and I say that I was 14 and he was 16, and he was like the star football player, and
oh,
it was like so giddy. And we broke up, of course, as all high school couples do, and didn't really like talk again until my freshman year of college. And I was in college out of state and I came back just on a whim to visit a friend and we met up and kind of connected and we AOL messengered. I think that's what it was when I went back to school.
yeah.
And I ended up moving back to Arizona for school and we've been together ever since. So he's great.
I love that so much. It's so sweet. Yeah, I wanted to ask that earlier, but I wanted to wait until the appropriate time to ask you about it.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I was going to ask as well. So I love that it is so apparent that you have gotten to a place where it sounds like oh, how did you word it earlier? Emotionally, it doesn't seem like it's as maybe strenuous on you in your current
Mhm.
day. For competing, would you say that there's ever a day, whether it's the occipital neuralgia you mentioned, or does it impact you at all? Like on stage day with all the stimulation, or during peak week, is there anything that is different for you?
To be honest, no. At this point, I think I've gotten past that. When I get tired once in a while, it doesn't happen as much anymore, which is kind of funny. Um, I can feel the occipital neuralgia more when if I get really run down. You'd think I would have it more in prep or peak week, but I honestly, like you were saying, how like bodybuilders sort of get a bad rap for what we do to our bodies. I honestly feel like this is the healthiest and like mentally the most clear I have been in my entire life. Like I feel healthy. And so I don't know, like the inflammation thing, I don't know if
Mhm.
that helps too. The foods that I'm eating are not as they're not inflammatory foods and they're nourishing and whole foods. I don't know. But I honestly, and that's such a cool thing for me to say that I don't feel like it's impacted me. So
No, I'm really glad I asked you that because I think a lot of people, like you mentioned earlier, we all have something that we're insecure about. We have something that maybe on a health level that we're dealing with, or that to us, maybe sometimes it can feel like if we let it, it might hold us back. So I
mhm.
appreciate that you reiterated that you've never felt better because I think it is easy to assume that we can't do something that's unfamiliar, especially when the outside looking in, bodybuilding seems so extreme, especially if
Mhm.
you don't maybe have the right fit, the right coach or approach for you. But this can be done in a really healthy way. It doesn't have to be um, dangerous to our health.
Mhm.
So,
Agree.
like we mentioned before we got on camera, I was saying to you that your inquiry made me emotional, and I said, it's because I'm on my period today, and it got us on the topic about how I didn't have my period for a long time before competing, and then it was like this magical gift, like. Not saying that would happen to everybody, but I mean, I'm thankful because just like you, I feel like the healthiest version of me. So I think it's really easy for friends, family, or people that don't know us very well to be like, "Oh man, you're doing another show? Is that good? Is that healthy for you? Oh, you're
Mhm.
still doing it, huh? Oh my gosh. When are you done?"
Mhm.
Actually, what are your goals that are sports specific, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I mean, if you would have asked me, well, starting this year, my goal was to just continue to beat my best package, just to grow, just to keep on growing in the sport. And I don't want to ever, I mean, and it'll happen, I'm sure, but I don't want to ever do a show and and not have made any improvements, I guess. And even if it's, I guess, a mental, cognitive improvement to where I look at it differently or my posing gets better or something. I just, I need to have a goal in order for me to be happy. I'm like a working dog. I have to have almost like a job for myself. And me completing that job is me, I guess, getting better each time. I mean, would it be great to get a pro card? Of course. That would, I feel like that's, if anyone's somewhat serious in the sport, that's probably their goal, but it's not like I don't have the pressure within myself to get one. If I got one, hey, that would just rock my world. But I really just want to continue improving.
Yeah. What is something that you'd say on a spiritual or emotional level that you're focusing on right now with your current prep?
Hmm.
'Cause I agree. I love when we have goals that have nothing to do with placing. Although maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's obvious, like you said, uh, potential opportunity that we would love to experience. I think what keeps us accountable and what ensures that improvement, like you said, is that we have something that matters to us with every single show, every single check-in that, oh wow, I did better with this, or I felt like this, or I
Mm-hmm.
noticed this in myself. So I always like asking
Mm-hmm.
people what non-placement goals they have.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. But spiritual or like just other goals you said during prep?
Yeah, not it doesn't have to literally be spiritual. It could be like so I'll share one and then maybe I'll jog one for you. So when I started this season, Sally asked me, she said, "What is something that you want to see in yourself?" And for me, I wanted to feel like I had a really confident walk, or I wanted to feel, this is a big one. So people who listen to every episode, they're probably sick of hearing me say it, but right now, my personal goal is I am working on, it sounds so cheesy wording it like this, but believing myself as hard as others believe in me. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, for lack of better words, because I don't think it's as strong consciously for me, but I almost feel like on a deep shadow level, I almost feel undeserving at times. Like this last show when I won, the first emotion I felt was guilt. And I was nervous about the girls I knew at the show. And I felt like I had a hard time um, keeping everybody waiting for me. So I didn't want to ask for feedback because I was too busy thinking about everybody else instead of thinking about myself in the moment. So that's a big
Mm-hmm.
goal for me right now, to feel present and to feel like it's okay to feel selfish and to believe that I'm worthy as much as my husband believes I'm worthy. So for me, that's my number one right now, which I know is very deep to ask casually in conversation. So not everyone knows, like, this is what I'm working on spiritually, Shannon.
That's a hard one, but yours is a good one. Yours is one I think a lot of people struggle with. Or anytime I do well in something, I always downplay it. Like, of course, I think a lot of women do that too, where it's like, oh my God, you look so pretty today. You look so good. Oh, thanks. I didn't get any sleep last night. No, oh, really? Okay, thanks. And then you throw back a comment to them like, oh, you look great too, So I think that's just, we deflect. Yeah, I think that's what we do. But yours is a good one. And I mean, I feel like I could kind of roll off of that too and say, of course, well, actually mine is the confidence in my walk. I feel like that's something that I've been working on because I feel like that reflects on how I feel about myself. And I feel more confident than I look sometimes when I go and look back at how I was walking. And it's almost like I have to exaggerate it 10 times over to and maybe that's going to come from within too. But also during this prep, it's kind of funny because I told myself at the very beginning, it's like, okay, if I'm going to keep doing this, I want to prep to where my family doesn't realize I'm in prep. Like I want to make it about me, but I don't want to make it about me all the time. I want to just make it easy on my family too. And it's not hard, but it's intentional. Like, and I think they've gotten to the point too where, it's never like, oh, mom can't have that, or mom, do you want to try some ice cream? Oh, just take a bite, or oh, mom can't do that. We can't have any fun with mom. They're not like that at all. They're really supportive, and it's because I'm still trying to do things with them and go places and do all the things. And I'll pack my Tupperware, that's fine. Or I'll pack a bag of chicken and whatever, throw it on a salad, and we can still go out to dinner and do all the things. Like I'm not trying to bring them down, which I think every mom does, right? And every wife or every girlfriend does too with who they're around. But I really try to be intentional about being in prep without them feeling like I'm on prep. And sometimes that means getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get my steps in if we're going to go somewhere, but I'm doing it. So
I understand that though. I think that's really relatable for people, especially like you said, there's your first prep where I think everyone's on a journey together. And it's like there's this milestone that no one has ever been to before in this household. So it's almost easier in a different way. It's not easier first prep, but it's almost easier in a different way where people are like, all right, we're locked in, loaded, and they get to the finish line. But then we end up loving it. And friends, family, coworkers are like, oh, wait, we're still going.
mm-hmm.
Then there's this whole adjustment for everybody of, like you said, oh, shoot, she can't have that. Or, oh, well, what can we do? And then I think with time comes this period of where it feels like some normalcy for everyone. And I can relate to what you're saying because I think I get nervous that I don't want to come off as like burdensome because I'm doing this. I don't want my choices to impact anybody. And being the non-attention seeker that I am, I'm like, oh no, don't worry about what I have to eat. It's okay. Just do it. Like I'll figure it out. Don't look.
Mm-hmm.
I can
really, for sure.
So given the fact that you're a business owner and you're a mom and you're a competitor, my patient actually gave me this idea. So if she's listening, because she said this would be a cool question to ask your guests. What are 3 things that you like to do that keeps you accountable or keeps your routine? So her example was she keeps her vitamins by her bedside. And that way, for sure, every day, she knows she'll at least get her vitamins in. And I was like, well, that's a really good question. I have to think about my 3.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, number one, I have to say is thank you, Instacart, but it's always having protein in the house and protein prepped or at least ready to cook. I feel like that keeps me accountable. I mean, you don't realize how much protein you eat until
Mhm.
you're tracking it.
Yeah.
Um, and you know what? I get up every day about the same time. I get up early. I feel like getting up early for me, you're either an early bird or you are a night owl. And I have always been super productive in the morning. So I set my alarm to 3:54. I don't know why it's 3:54, but some days I'll make it to my alarm and some days I'll get up at 3:30. I'll just automatically wake up. I do go to bed early. I go to bed between 8:30 and 9 typically. Sometimes I go to sleep on the couch at 7:30 and then go to bed with the kids, but I just get up and I'm accountable for myself then. That's when I do any research. That's when I log my foods. I prep my foods. I get steps in. We have a treadmill in the garage, or I do an ice bath, or I make sure and have me time. And I feel like that is super important. And even on vacation, I try to get up early and have a cup of coffee outside and just have some me time. I feel like if I don't have me time in the morning, my day crumbles. If I don't have my protein, my day crumbles. If I don't have my fitness pal, I kind of freak out, which I shouldn't, but I love my fitness pal. But yeah, I feel like those are three good ones.
Those are really good. I could not name mine off that quickly because I think, again, some things start to become automatic that you're like, shoot, what do I do? I know I'm consistent right now, but what are my quote hacks? So I really like this one,
Mm-hmm.
especially I understand the morning one. If my morning's not productive, I am a sloth for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel good
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So let's see, you've got your national show coming up. Is that the last one of the show that you of the show of the year so far that you know of?
I mean, there potentially might be another one. I feel like it's sort of touch and go. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how I stack up. And I mean, if I'm, you know how it goes. If you need to take some time off, we'll take some time off. And if I want to do a local show, then maybe a local show. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I'd say I'm kind of looking forward to maybe a few meals with my family after the show, but yeah, we'll just kind of see, I guess.
What's your go-to meal after the show?
It has been a hamburger, and I am not a hamburger person. I feel like it's just something that organically happens when you do this. You want a hamburger after your show,
You're so
but
great. I don't think I've had more burgers.
it's weird. I don't think I've ever ordered a burger my entire like adult life until after a show. And I've loved every second of it. I think I got one with an egg over easy last time
Oh,
on
no.
top of it. And it was great. And of course, I love a little bit of a cookie. Those PDX cookies are delish. You turned me on to those.
I've got like five of them in my freezer right now.
Oh man, I still have two. I am like deciding which one I want to take with me. But I don't know. I think I just want a bite of everything. I want like 300 things in front of me and I want a bite of everything because I don't want to be disappointed. So I just want to keep on taking a bite and then it might add up to one meal. But so far it's been a burger and sweet potato fries.
Oh gosh, yeah. You brought up PDX because I was late night scrolling. I need to just say call it the munchie scrolls or something because it's like right when you
Oh,
show my Instagram feed, it's all like if anyone listening
yeah.
to get a croissant cookie, let me know.
Oh, I've seen those.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yes.
Literally at 11 o'clock last night, I am hanging off the edge of the bed because I don't want to wake up my husband. And I'm scrolling where to get a cookie in Arizona.
Oh, it's terrible. I know it
Literally.
happens. It's so real. And then Instagram just says, "Well, you like to look at this, so I'm going to give you more and
Mhm.
more and more."
Yep. Yeah, Connor, you know how some people say the Amazon packages, their husband finds it? Well, he came
Hmm.
home to a PDX package and he picks it up. He's like, what is in this? I open it up. He's like, another cookie? He's having a sale for the giant ones. And he's like, there's five of them in the freezer. So
Oh my gosh.
go
I know
get
we still
them.
have the oatmeal cream pie one in our freezer. I ordered three around the holidays and we've like had one for every special occasion. Like for Christmas, we had one for New Year's, and now I don't know. We still have one in the freezer, so we
God,
have to get something going soon.
do a little reveal video, a little taste test.
Yes, yes.
Was there anything that we didn't chat about today that you would like to?
Actually, I did mention this, and I feel like it is really good for all the mamas out there that, or people with absolutely bananas. They're just bananas right now. Their schedules are crazy. Kids are home, or they don't think that they have time to do it. I feel like competing, and I feel like what we do gives me so much peace to my chaos. Like it kind of calms the chaos for me. It gives me structure. There's no guessing. Like I know what I'm going to eat. I will make time for my workouts because I have to. And because you just do, you're intentional when you have a show date or you have a goal, you're just intentional. And it, I had a lot of anxiety before I started competing, and I had a lot of I felt like my energy was very displaced, and I feel like it's very controlled now, and I have control over it, and it's pretty cool. So I do feel like competing for all the moms, for all the people with the crazy schedules in life. So I feel like you can do it because it definitely gives you some peace, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives me peace.
For any moms that are listening or people that are reluctant to get into the sport, would you say with where you are and the strength that you found, are there any tips or pieces of advice you would give for someone that might need well, how can I start to gain confidence towards that?
Um, to like take the first steps into competing, or
I guess if someone is wanting to hear from somebody who has successfully improved their confidence, whether that's talking yourself up or trying like a daily stoic or something, what's a piece of advice you'd give to someone that maybe they are in that space where they're not feeling yet confident and they don't know how to get there?
I mean, honestly, I would say start just start walking every day. Just get outside, get some sunshine. If you have little kids, just start walking every single day, twice a day, like go out for 30 minutes and do that every day. Start eating clean whole foods and write down what you eat and track what you eat and make that not because, oh, woe is me, I need to lose weight. Make it more like this is medicine for me. This is like I'm going to carve out time, even if I don't think I have time. But if you just take little steps like that, put makeup on every day, do your hair, wear cute gym clothes if you can make it to the gym, or if you can't, just put on something bright, put on something that makes you feel good. And little by little, you'll start getting that confidence. And just little things like that make such a huge difference. And I mean, and try to step foot in a gym and, see a coach, have a coach, maybe train with them once a week and see what happens if you fall in love with it. But I think confidence comes from self-care for sure. And it's not selfish. It's self-care that is very valuable to your family, to yourself. Because if you're not taking care of, you can't take care of your little ones, your husband, or just affects everybody. So
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that. I think the way you put that, it sounds so achievable. And like you said, day by day, I think is the best way to go about it, and reframing it to where it's positive and it's achievable and it's not burdensome. It's not selfish. I love everything that you said there.
thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate you so much more than you know for sharing everything today. I'm sure as soon as we log off, there's gonna be a million other things that I wanted to ask you about. So we'll have to do a part two sometime. But I really seriously thank you for all that you do, not just on this episode, but every time you step on stage and show up for yourself. And I feel like you just do such an amazing job of being an example for others. So thank you for all that.
Oh, thank you. You as well, too. I'm deflecting, but you as
I
well.
know.
I do mean that though. Thank you. Your podcasts are great and inspiring, and they've always been a lot of fun to listen to.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Gosh, for everyone listening, I'm so sorry I just screamed in their earbuds or their car. For everyone listening, please make sure to share this podcast, submit your inquiries for Anonymous House Calls with Doctor in a Bikini, and make sure to follow all of the shenanigans on Instagram. And thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.